But everybody, thank you for being here, being with the state coach, and we will take questions. Coach?
Yeah, just a very frustrating and disappointing loss this afternoon. Give credit to Minnesota. There's certainly a lot of things we can do a whole lot better and shot ourselves in the foot in a number of different ways, but give credit to them getting down 7 in the second half and sticking with it and being tough enough to come in here and win on the road. Just really frustrated these 2 home games we've had in the league, man, with 7-8 point leads midway through the second half. You gotta win those games. You got to win those games. You got to, and a lot of it has been our defense in those situations. Once again, we can talk about, you can ask me questions about offense, but we scored almost 80 points. We scored 44 in the second half. We shot 50% from the field. This was our inability to guard pick and rolls in the middle of the floor. Our inability to come up with a couple loose balls. They got a big long rebound there when we did force a miss, and we just couldn't get any stops. And that's where you got to be tough enough and to really dig down and get stops when the game matters. And we're just not doing that. And it's I'll take full accountability for it. I never put blame on the players, but we all got to, if we want to win games in this league, we're going to have to get a whole lot tougher mentally and physically to put 40 minutes together. So I'll open up for questions.
Questions to the left.
It seems like they had a lot of success in transition and pushing the tempo. What made it hard for you to set up the defense?
Yeah, they're a really good offensive team. I thought Reynolds was fantastic. I thought his ability to get into our paint all game long. I know Tyson's a terrific scorer and he played great, but I thought Reynolds was the star of the game. He just controlled he had the ball. He was a playmaker. He got assists. He rebounded. He got to the basket and scored. We had a couple transition situations when we drove the ball and missed shots and fell down, which then that's hard. That's 5-on-4. That's 4-on-3. The big 3 that Crocker Johnson hit late when it was a 2-point game. I think AP drove in there, shot a shot with his left hand and fell, so he missed. And then now all of a sudden we're playing 5-on-4 and they found their guys. They do a really good job sharing the ball. They're number 1 in the country in assists to made baskets. So, and they had 25 assists to 28 field goals today. So, we got a lot we got to get better at. In no way, shape, or form is there going to be any quit, but there needs to be a sense of urgency on our fight and our defensive discipline and habits in order to find a way to win a game in this league.
Coach, AP started on the bench today. Obviously didn't play last game due to the violation. Was today's benching at the start related to the same issue?
No, I just rewarded. I felt really good about how Trey played. And Minnesota started a small, Crocker Johnson's more of a forward starting as their big. And I didn't want, I thought Trey had his best game. So I knew AP was still going to play starters minutes. I wanted to reward that effort from Howard the other day. So we had moved on. That was a one-time thing. And AP had a couple good days of practice, and we had moved on, and we were ready to go this afternoon.
Coach, this is a 0-3 start league play. 4 of your next 5 are currently ranked in the top 25. What do you see as the path forward for getting some of those games? Do you see this as a season that can get back on track?
Yeah, you just got to play the next game. I couldn't have even told you who 4 of the next 5 are. I look what's in front of us. And there's tons of examples, of teams that go through 3-game losing streaks. You just never want it to happen at the start, right? There's times in a really tough league you lose 2 or 3 in a row, and you gotta try to bounce back, and this was certainly a big game, and one that we knew we had to get, but we just got to get ready for the next game. I'm not looking at 4 of the next 5 or 8 of the next 10 or 10 of the next 12. This is a really good league. Every team is good. Every team can beat you. You got to show up and you got to play well no matter who you play, where the game is. So this one stings. This one hurts. We got to get up tomorrow and get ourselves ready for our next game and try to put a game plan together and an effort level together that gives us a chance to be competitive.
Coach, the paint was a real struggle today.
Yeah.
You had Grayson Grove go in,
Yeah.
get 5-6 dunks,
Yep.
pick and roll. In terms of size, especially considering that a lot of teams in the Big Ten have, 7-footers, how do you guys respond to that physically?
Well, AP was the biggest guy on the floor. So, I mean, and Nick's, if you ask anybody, Nick's a pretty big, strong guy. So we have size. That's not an excuse. I mean, AP was the biggest in a guy on the floor today. Groves is doing a good job. He's shorter and weighs less than AP. Nick Martinelli, you look at him, he's a big, strong dude, man. Walk up next to Nick Martinelli and tell me if he's a small guy. So it's not size. It has nothing to do with size. It's, it's discipline. It's toughness when you get a little bit tired. I thought our defense got really spread out. And part of that is them because they run their offense really well. They cut hard. They keep constant pressure on you. So it definitely has a big thing to do with them, but it has nothing to do with size. It's height, it's hard, it's toughness, it's discipline. And those are things right now that we're lacking when the game matters most. Like we wouldn't have had it where it was if we didn't play pretty well in certain stretches. Our problem is when it matters most, we're not at our best. And that's if we want to win in this league, that's what we have to clean up.
Eli.
Coach, after the Ohio State game, you talked about, sort of going back to some of your summer habits, rebuilding some of those standards in practice. After today, do you anticipate any kind of similar reckoning?
Yeah, I mean, I felt pretty good about our D. I thought the Butler game was one of our best against, held them to 60 or whatever. I thought we defended pretty well against Howard the other night. This was surprising to me. I thought we had turned the corner. We'd been spending a lot of time on our, protecting our paint, keeping our defense compact and being physical and not giving up layups and dunks. And, I thought for the most part, we had a couple, they do a good job with their cutting. We had a few miscommunications in the first half where we gave up some layups, but really a chunk of those were in the last 12 minutes of the game. I mean, 4 or 5 of Groves were right in the last 5 minutes, right? And to me, that's where you just got to dig down. And we're just not, and again, I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not a coach like that. You know that. I'm not going to sit here and say, this guy has to do that guy. I have to set the tone with how I lead the team. I got to do a better job, setting that tone. And, we got to coach these guys up so they can play well under pressure.
A couple more questions, Brent.
Coach, you talked a lot about urgency. One of the ways that typically shows up is offensive rebounding. Minnesota had 8 of those today, scored 9 points off of them. Is that more of a tactical issue, or do you think, like you said, it goes back to the effort and being willing to
I got to look at it. I didn't come away from this game saying, man, they just beat us up on the offensive glass. There have been other games we give up. I thought DePaul, Virginia at times. I mean, I didn't feel like that was kind of the story. I thought Groves got a big one there. We got Crocker Johnson to miss a 3, and Groves got a big one there late when we were cross-matched a little bit over Jordan. But, for the most part, I didn't feel like offensive rebounding. Our middle pick and roll defense was much more concerning. And, our just inability to keep Reynolds. I thought Reynolds' penetration, and part of that was the pick and rolls. Other times he was just driving us. And, I thought he really set the tone with his play.
So, Coach, with today's loss, the Cats dropped to 2-5 in 2-possession games.
Yeah.
What can you guys do in practice to help change the ties, and how do you instill the discipline and part that you're talking about?
That's the age-old question, right? If I knew the answer, we would have done it today. So we got to continue to watch film. We got to continue to talk to these guys. We got to, we do game situations in practice all the time. It's a little bit different, when the place has got people in here and you're on national TV, but you try to rehearse these situations the best you can, whether you're up, you're down, you got to get stops, and you try to condition and prepare your guys to be in a position where in those last 4 minutes you can be really solid on both ends of the floor. And, we just weren't that today, and we haven't been that, to your point. We won the DePaul game and I think South Carolina, but our other high major games, we've got 5 other than Wisconsin. We got our tails kicked there, but the other games were all games that and a lot of them we had leads. Oklahoma State, we had a lead. Virginia, we had a lead in the second half. These last two, Ohio State, we had a lead. Today we had a lead. And we're just not doing a really good job when we get those leads in the second half of just putting our foot down and saying, this is our game. And we got to keep at it. I mean, I told our guys in there, there's no quitting me. I know there's no quitting our staff. There's no quitting our players. It sucks. It stings. This is a really tough loss, really frustrating, really disappointing, all those things. And if you're a competitor, how could you not have those emotions? But, you wake up tomorrow and you say, listen, we got another game to play. It's not the last game of the season. That's always how I've been wired, man. Like, if there's another game to play, you get up and you dust yourself off and you roll your sleeves up and you keep fighting and you try to turn things around. And that's got to be the attitude in our locker room.
Coach Trey Singleton fouled out today.
Yeah.
After he had such a great game against Howard. How do you kind of get him out of the rhythm of foul trouble?
Yeah, no, it's frustrating because I thought he had a real breakthrough the other night, and he gets caught at times, kind of grabbing and holding and getting a step late sometimes on rotations with leads to fouls, and we really missed him. We needed him. This was a game we really needed him, and he's a young player. Like, you don't want to place blame on anybody, but he's a big part of what we're doing. It allows us to you can rest Nick a little bit more. You can rest AP a little bit more, when he's playing well. And today we just didn't have that opportunity because of his foul trouble. So he'll learn from it. That's what you get sometimes with freshmen. It's how it goes sometimes with young players. They're going to be great some nights, and other nights they're going to look their age, and you got to stick with them and work with them, and hopefully he can get himself in a rhythm where he can get back to playing well. All right. Thank you, guys.
Nick, this is now an 0-3 start to the Big Ten. Do you see a way that this team can get back on track for some of the tough schedule that's ahead?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's just little things that we have to clean up. I mean, both Ohio State and Minnesota were our games to take, and then in the last 8 minutes, we just barely lost them, just a couple big plays. I mean, I definitely think we can turn around. There's no reason we can't. We have a ton of good guys, talented guys, and we're going to figure out, who's going to play to win.
Question. Eli?
For either of you, defense has clearly been an emphasis for the last couple of weeks, especially after the Ohio State game. Why do you feel that the efforts you put in practice haven't translated into a better defensive performance today?
I mean, we work at it every day. We do defensive drills every day. We have a game plan and a scouting report. We just have to execute it in the game. I mean, I feel like it's not a lack of work or a lack of practice or anything like that. It's just execution in the game, talking. It's more at stake now. Obviously, everybody could do it in practice when we know the drill is coming or we know what to do. But now it's game, and you have to react and execute different things that you might have not seen before. It's just like being together, being on the same page. We started off the first half pretty good. They scored 34 in the first half, and then second half 50 points. So that says it all right there.
Jayden, you mentioned talking is one of the ways defense has to get better. Coach Collins was very insistent that the middle pick and roll was what kind of killed you guys down the stretch. How do you think better communication can help you guys defend a play like that?
I mean, the middle pick and roll is just it's a simple but effective play, obviously, and they ran it continuously down the stretch. It's just like, as guards, we have to get over the screen so there is no rotation anyway. But then, if the guard gets downhill and AP's yelling, break it off, we have to listen to the command. Or if AP's yelling out flat ball screen and we're supposed to force a guard a certain way, we have to execute the game plan, like I said before. It's just hearing the calls and executing it and just continue to just play hard. Even if we mess up the call, just play hard. Just foul. Grove has 6 for 6, all dunks. I mean, one was my fault, and I'm there. We just fouled him. Obviously, he's not a great free throw shooter, but we gave up 6 dunks, and he's 6 for 6, and he affected the game. So.
Any more questions? Jake?
Nick, as the veteran leader of this group, what do you just say to the guys in the locker room as you look to forge a turnaround?
Yeah, I think we have to be a lot more disciplined. I talked about, what it means to put on this jersey, and if if you really care about it, then you're going to go out there and fight your tail off. And if you don't, you know, you're not going to play. I just think that, you know, we need guys out there that want to fight for this jersey and one another. And yeah, I mean, we're going to find those guys, and I'm just very frustrated. I know how much talent we have on this team and how much work we've put into it, and to not be able to go out and finish games. I mean, you're playing 25, 30 good minutes and then just letting it slip away. That blows. So I'm not happy about that at all, but I am grateful that we have 17 more opportunities to hopefully get to extend our season a little bit. And yeah, I have complete faith in every single person in the locker room. We're going to find those guys.
Any more questions, Matt?
Jayden, 19 points today. That's your most since Virginia a couple months ago. What did you feel like worked for you today?
Just losing myself within the team. Had a couple of bad game shooting performances. Worried about my shot. Worried about getting myself going. But, you know, today is just like we got to get our first Big Ten win. I came out with that mindset, and no matter what the game entails for me, whether I'm shooting it great or not, play winning basketball. I went out there, played winning basketball. The ball found me. I made some shots today. Still didn't get the win, so it really doesn't matter.
Okay, that wrap us up. Thank you.
Thank you.